talk a little bit about what's going on with Minnkota and how did we get to 29%, and partially I think for you guys, how did we get from 16% to 29% in a relatively short period. So what I'll try to do maybe is give you a sense of kind of two items. What is happening kind of generically associated with what's causing it, and a little bit about what's happened between December and January that caused a portion of what's going on, and then talk to you a little bit about maybe to some extent what are the other issues that we are currently facing, and maybe what some of the additional challenges are here over the near term. When you add all of that up, and this is kind of what are the difference between December and January, when you add all that up and you subtract out the places where we have some positives, what happened in the market negative, what happened to member load negative, you end up in a position that we were going to collect as a result of the January assumptions $13.5 million less than originally anticipated. So the second part of it is we also in 2009 and 2010 have been accumulating a series of deficits because the market conditions in both 8 and 9 were negative as well. And so we ended 2010 with $23.5 million in deficits associated with those 2 years, both being bad as well. And we kept trying to, if you will, hope that the marketplace would come back that we're selling into a little bit better, and hope that the members would grow back into a portion of that. Neither one of those over the course of the last couple of years happened, and so we'd accumulated about $23 million in deficits for 2011 as well that we had ended up in a deferral position. Since 2009, our expenses to deliver electricity have gone up 41.4%. We had kind of two options here, obviously. One is we can increase the rates that we charge our membership to be able to recover all those things, or we could essentially, I think, let Minnkota go into some kind of I don't want to use the word bankruptcy because I don't think that's what it is, but that you're going to be in a financial situation for which you're going to have to figure out how to deal with your lenders and otherwise. What are the things to look at as we go forward? One is because the membership hasn't grown as anticipated, because the marketplace looks the way it does, in the short term we have to figure out, from my perspective, whether or not we can sell off a portion of the energy that we currently have to somebody else, and then figure out how do you meet the members' needs again as you go forward. So part of what we're looking at now is a number of things. Look at our own set of internal expenses. What is it we can do with our own internal expenses associated with what those look like? And two is, what do we do with, can we restructure? The question has come up a number of times. Can we restructure our wind contracts? We're going to look at that and find out whether or not in the short term we can take a lesser price for the contracts. Well, obviously, if we do that, have to pay for it in the longer term. I mean, those guys are going to recover whatever it is their asset investments are over time. We can look at, are there some things we can do to be able to, I'll call it, be more efficient in how we use energy, when do we use it, what does the marketplace mean to us. There are a number of other things I guess we can look at as well in terms of partnerships to be able to sell a portion of that energy to a partner.
These rate increases are passing on to me, a large consumer of electricity, and they're expecting me to absorb it. So why don't you absorb it? Sounds to me like there was a lot of bad assumptions made in the past, and we get to pay for it. If I did that in my industry, I'd be out of business.
Part of this is cyclical. Part of it is we probably never faced the conditions that we face today in terms of being long in a really bad marketplace. So part of it is, part of the question is, can we absorb all of it? We've absorbed a large portion of it over the last several years.
So in your budget, you guys were expecting a 2% load growth? Who came up with that? They're incompetent.
It came from a large number of assumptions delivered to us, partially by our members, partially by what
the economy is down, and the past few years you said electric use is down, and how can you just say, oh, we're going to expect 2%? And then you go from 16.9 to 29.6. I own a business, if I had that big of a difference in my budget, I'd be out of business. It's poor management or accounting.
One thing I remember is that Minnkota lost money here a couple of years ago, and they decided to put a surcharge on us to cover that cost.
Surcharge was primarily aimed at this over, if you will, I'll call it the wind portion of this. It's over generation on the wind component at 4.5 cents and a sale at 2.5 cents.
So there's no chance that they may consider spreading this increase out for 2 years. The decision's been made, and you know, I mean, it's quite a blow to people to accept a 20% increase in, you know, our sale to them is gonna be almost 20%. Right. And, you know, to drop this on people, I've gotten letters from school teachers, from people on fixed income.
I guess I'm hoping we can just hold on in 2012 as well, but I think the board did look at, can we spread this over, and I think the concern was we've been trying to spread this over the last 3 to 4, and it kept getting worse, not better.
You can't tell me that you don't see this stuff coming long ways ahead, all of these requirements and all these things are gonna happen, and that this all comes down to a blow up in the last 2 years. That is, I don't believe that. If you guys were elected your positions, you'd be run out of office in the next election, I guarantee you. I just don't follow that this all had to happen in the last 2 years. Somebody's been covering something up, been holding back. I just don't believe you don't see this coming. There's none of this could have happened that quickly.
Part of it is, I'll call it unforeseen. We've never seen the marketplace drop 2 cents a kilowatt hour or 50% for a long period of time ever.
I'm 1/3 of the year through my budget and trying to figure out how I'm gonna absorb this. And bang, it's here.
Russ, everybody's in the same predicament. I think that.
Well, but, you know, Mayor, that makes me feel better. It makes me feel one hell of a lot better. Thank you very much, appreciate it.
What would you like me to do, Russ? Would you want me to lower the rates? I can't do.
I know you can't do it.
I know it doesn't change anything.
That's why I'm concerned with the direction of energy is going in this country, and the demand for us to buy all these renewable resources. And coal is the worst thing that was ever invented, the only thing we have a great abundance of. You know, I mean, there's problems. I'm not saying it's his problem. He's getting the brunt of it because he's here giving us a message there's gonna be a 30% increase. But, you know, I agree, these things need to be thought out a lot better. There needs to be a little more preparation of the consumer as to what's coming down the road. And I agree, it is unfair to expect people to, I don't know how they're gonna do it. Some people, it's gonna be damn tough.